In Point of Impact,
Yeah.
you introduced Bob Lee Swagger.
Yeah.
And then the Bob Lee Swagger in the Hollywood adaptation of the book in
Yeah.
Shooter.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that that book was the first one that Hollywood made.
Mm-hmm.
But considering your background, considering that for so many years you were a film critic, how was it moving to the inside of Hollywood as they adapted your book into the Mark Wahlberg movie Shooter?
Well, it was basically rather pleasant. They respected the book. They understood at some level that principle that I just laid out about trying to be accurate with the guns. And the whole cast and crew went to, I believe, Front Sight in Arizona and did some, I may be wrong about that. It may not have been Front Sight.
Gun Sight?
No, it wasn't Gun Sight. But it was a shooting school. And one of the things that's good about that movie, and believe me, there are bad things about it, but one of the things that's good about it is the gun handling is very professional, as it would be at that level, because we're, after all, seeing the highest level professionals in the world. The way they move with the guns, the way they shoot with the guns, the action sequences with the guns, I think are all of very high quality. And in that, in a funny way, was what I had hoped to get out of it. And one of the reasons that the DVD has been so successful, has become such a cult item, is because gun people watch it and they instinctively know that they're getting something that's genuine. And that's maybe, I'm hoping that's why they read the books, because they understand that it's done with respect and a good deal of care and research to portray the guns accurately as possible. I will say that the movie people treated me very well. I met Mark Wahlberg. They flew me out to L.A. with my wife for the premiere. We walked the red carpet, my wife on one arm, my daughter on the other arm, both of whom are beautiful, so no one looked at me at all. Of course, both of them wanted to meet Mark Wahlberg. They were bored with me very quickly. But now, as for the movie itself, they had trouble ending it, and they added an ending. I would say that one of the reasons the action sequences were so good was the young director Antoine Fuqua, who did Tears of the Sun and Training Day, is a very good action director. And just a very good director, period. I recommend Tears of the Sun as probably one of the best commando movies ever made. I think that they were stuck. Their ending, which was based on my ending, didn't work. So they cobbled an ending on very late in the process that had nothing to do with the book. And I thought twisted the movie way too far left. It also somewhat perverted and tainted the character of Bob Lee Swagger. And of course, a lot of people in shooting culture aren't terribly sophisticated about the way movies are made. And I got all these angry emails from people saying, why did you let them do that to your book? Well, let them. I spent the money 10 years ago. I can't, they're going to do with it what they're going to do with it. So I guess I have some angry people out there. But I will say I didn't care for the ending either. The movie was moderate success. Worldwide and on DVD, it was a success. It wasn't a particularly, it was not a success in the movies the first time around. It didn't make its nut, as you might say. But all in all, it was it wasn't as traumatic as you might think, A, and B, the deals are so complicated and it takes so long and they go through so many iterations, so many possibilities. This particular book went through 2 studios, 13 directors, 26 screenwriters, and 13 stars, including people as disparate as Robert Redford and Keanu Reeves. Have some fun with the concept of Keanu Reeves as Bob Lee Swagger. Okay. Whoa. It was, and it finally, you know, by the end, yeah, the only way you can get through it is not to pay a lot of attention to it. And don't get too involved in it. Make friends with it, and don't you know, embrace it totally so that you take its failure personally or its success too seriously. So it was, you know, all in all, it was a very interesting experience. It paid for my children's college education and my first divorce, so I can't complain.
Now, is Hollywood looking at any of your other books?
Yeah, I've got a book it's in that process right now. Is my Earl Swagger book, Hot Springs, based on the Hot Springs veteran revolt of 1946. I've been sort of between a rock and a hard place, and that Paramount has claim to the character Bob Lee Swagger. So unless a film studio wants to make some accommodation with that, it's probably not likely that another book is going to happen. Another of the Swagger books is going to become a movie, unless a new book becomes a huge breakthrough success and someone decides to start over from scratch. To be honest with you, I'm kind of tired of Bob Lee Swagger. He never gets to sleep with a girl, for one thing. We don't like that at all. And I think that I keep wanting to write a book about someone else, and I can't. My publisher, you know, they see the money coming in, and so they want Bob Lee Swagger. So it looks like Bob and I will go around the track a few more times.